mevorach. Baruch hu et Adonai ha-mevorach. You can also leave me a cappella, and it's fine, and we'll go back to the beginning. Baruch.
I have a different melodic line in the B section, so.
I'm sorry, what do you have?
I have a different melodic line.
Yeah, I know, that's what I said.
Yeah. So
That's what I said, so just leave me a cappella.
great.
Yeah,
Okay.
just,
Okay.
it's fine. So, but then we go back to the beginning, and we go, ha-mevorach, ha-mevorach, le'olam va'ed. And that's the end. So it's like DC al capo. And then we've got, we're not going to be able to get through everything. Let's start the Michamocha.
It'd be cool if you like almost you set it up.
And Joe, you're great. You're not too loud at all. You're just perfect. You are perfect. How does that feel? I'll write her a note, a cantorial note.
Yeah, so we're about.
So, yeah. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malechutecha ra'u v'necha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe. Ve'amru Adonai dababa ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. That's it. They are starting to come in, and I think I need to get my talit. But the meditation I do exactly like it is. I don't think there are any other surprises. Oh, you don't have the picture Hechianu. That's what you don't have. Da 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 dum dum. That's what you don't have. Let me see if I can grab that. Thank you, Ray. Oh, you know what? Except I probably won't.
How does this last one really quick go? And then just a little break each time. You have this blessing, last thing. We'll hear it. I think we'll hear it.
So I usually lead this one. Dan.
Test, test. Sounds okay to me, huh? All right.
Not really, but we'll try. No, Dan's doing a great job. That's right.
Until the gig. How you doing, John? What's happening? Alan sends his best. He actually
You should let me know. I want to make sure I'm here.
that's what I told him. I was like, yeah, you should let him know. He said he wanted to say hello and check it all out. So. I tell you, like we never. So I'm not sure. Let me look. Um,
Is that over?
yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Maybe ask her quick before it starts. By the way, it starts right now. Dude, when in doubt, just little pad, let her kind of riff, Yeah. Right. Combat pay. Yep. Oh. Oh, thank God. Oh, that's great. It's an external issue now while you're gone and fix the fan or whatever it is.
Yeah, I forgot to bring the prayer book down, but
You need a prayer book?
it would be ideal.
Okay, you're on, just so you know.
Yep.
Your mic is on, just so you know. Any prayer book?
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is a joy to welcome congregants and friends and guests in the sanctuary and online as we join together to celebrate Shabbat. This Shabbat, Rabbi Friedman and our president, John Broder, welcome to our Bima Cantor Naomi Hirsch, who's here filling in while Cantor Hyman takes a well-deserved vacation. He does not take enough vacations, though we love having him around here. So great to have you here with us, Cantor Hirsch, for the Shabbat. Let's please be sure to be among community. Please take a moment to introduce yourself in the comments or to turn around and find someone new to greet.
Yeah, we should tell you that AJ is like the mayor here. Like, everyone loves AJ. I don't even think, like, I mean, musically it's great, but I think it's just her effervescent personality that. but for my money, you're crushing it, bro. You are on fire right now. I'm very impressed with your laid back attitude given the circumstances. I think, right? Yeah. Yeah.
To kindle our Shabbat lights, we invite Steve Merman as we turn in our prayer books to page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Our Shabbat Kiddush is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tekeva למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
as we prepare to, in a moment, sing Shalom Aleichem and welcome the good angels of Shabbat to join us and be in our presence, consider what it is that you would like to bring with you into this Shabbat, bring with you into this sanctuary. Consider the energy, the connection to others, to God, to your inner self, the prayerfulness that you'd like to bring into your Shabbat. Consider these words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. He said, "The very project of prayer is to transcend the self and focus on what is greater than it." Even those of us who are uncertain about God, uncertain about prayer, we too could strive towards Rabbi Heschel's words to transcend the self and focus on what is greater than it. And so we take a deep breath and release, turning from the everyday to the Kedusha, to the holiness of Shabbat. We turn to page 24 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boakem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chuni l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidkem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidkem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidkem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech, Malachi Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Already sensing the presence of those good angels of Shabbat, we have made space for Shabbat joy. And so we continue with the Chadodi, pages 20 and 27.
דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם ניסוחה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורי קומי אורי, אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise if you're able.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך כבוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Focusing on those words of Heschel, striving to transcend the self in prayer. We turn to page 28 for our call to worship. On the very bottom of page 31, let us join in the words of Amos Oz on this magnificent miracle of the earth. Together, I know that the tide is not an independent force, but merely submission of the water to the movement of the moon in its orbit. And this orbit, in its turn, is subject to other orbits which are mightier far than it. And so the whole universe is held fast in the clinging grip of strong hands. The forces of earth and sun, planets and comets and galaxies, blindly erupting forces, ceaselessly stirring in ripples of silence to the very depth of black space. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim, page 33. On the top of the page together, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam. Please be seated. Page 36. It's Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher Anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha
Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha b'derech, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 41, together. Sing the song of people joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the Song of Peace, page 40.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha ba elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar הקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זלינו ואמרו, זלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Seeking God's comfort as we lie down in peace and are raised up to life renewed, we turn to page 42.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לקיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לקיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותתננו עצה טובה מלפניך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Turning to page 46 for the Amidah, please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. On the middle of page 57, together, you are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. On page 61, on the top of page 61, we join together in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocates among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take these moments for silent prayer.
Ulratsonim refi, ulratsonim refi, vegyot levi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'goali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart before you. O God, my rock and my Redeemer. O se shalom imromav. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al Israel. V'imru, v'imru. Amen.
In a moment, we will be on the middle of page 253 for our Mishaberach, our blessing for healing. At the start of Pride Month, leaders of PRISM, our LGBTQ plus affinity group, led an effort to write cards to trans kids in Reform congregations who live in states where their rights are being attacked. Last week, I received the following, addressed to me, but meant for all of you. From Rabbi Stephanie Alexander at Kahal Kadosh Beth Elohim, you think our name is hard, in Charleston, South Carolina. It reads, a big thank you for all the notes your congregation sent to ours, offering support, especially for transgender members at what is such a difficult and scary time for that community, in particular in our state. I've passed the notes along to our, quote, pink triangle circle, and wanted to let you know how much they mean to each of us here. Thank you, with every best wish and much gratitude. It is so clear we are a source for each other's healing. If you have a loved one in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, please add that name to the comments or speak it aloud now.
Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
As we prepare to sing our blessing of gratitude, Shehechianu, on page 344, we take moments now to reflect on what we are grateful for in our lives. And I hope that everyone can think of at least one good thing that maybe happened this past week or coming up in the next week, and search for that hakarat hatov, as we say in Judaism, looking for the good, noticing the good. It's not always easy, but our tradition compels us, and we hope that you'll share some of those wonderful simchas, those joyous moments in your lives with us as a congregation. Does anyone have anything they want to share this week? Yeah, Debbie. Oh, your mom's here visiting. It's so wonderful to have you here with us again. I hope you have such a wonderful visit. All right, who else? Yeah, let's start. We'll go to the back. We'll do Ethel and Jules first. 5 birthdays you're celebrating. Wow. Oh. Wow. Ben, Marge, John, the two of you, we get all the Goldbergs and figs. There's more. Wow. Wow, a whole plethora of simchas, graduations, weddings, birthdays, you got it all. Amazing, amazing. Oh, yes, who else? Linda, please. Ethel and Jules put us all to shame, right? Only one birthday. Happy birthday, Ed. Oh, so exciting. Anyone else? Susan. Oh, so wonderful. Power, our interfaith community organizing group, the group that's been working on economic dignity, working on a living wage and solar jobs and other amazing stuff, got together to continue that work and got together in person. It's probably been a long time since they've done that, and how special, especially because folks are coming from all over the city and beyond. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Ellen. Wow, that's amazing. This group of women who walk along Green Street, who's it headed by? Oh, Beverly Sherman, is that what? Oh, the City View Walkers. I love that. Oh, Debbie and others. Oh, that's so wonderful. And the fact that you're giving back to Breaking Bread on Broad, bringing diapers and wipes that are so needed for those in our community. Wow, what a mitzvah, what a simcha. Cora.
My fiance and I finally got the wedding.
Oh, you got the wedding invitations in the mail. That's another one of those big steps along the way towards the marriage. Oh, so exciting. We are so happy for you and your fiance. All right. Well, for all of these simchas and so many more, we join together in gratitude on page 344, words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן, אמן.
We have a saying in our house, and I feel like we used this a lot when we were traveling in Israel, especially. Sometimes jet lag and travel can make tensions get a little high. And the saying is, assume the best. I say it to the kids. I say it to myself. Assume the best. A car just cut me off. I could immediately assume that that person is a selfish, unthoughtful jerk who thinks they're more important than everyone else on the road. Sorry. Or I could assume the best. They must be in a hurry, maybe to get to the hospital to visit somebody. A friend didn't text me back. I could immediately assume they were not responding because they were offended by something I said, and then go down this negative rabbit hole and think, so immature of them. They could have just talked to me, and instead of being annoyed, and we could have worked it out like adults. Or I could assume the best. They must be dealing with something big at work or with their kid right now. Rabbi Elke Abramson, president of the Wexner Foundation, recently spoke about this idea of assuming the best in a keynote address on the art of civil discourse. Rabbi Abramson talks about the concept of motive asymmetry. She defines it as the phenomenon of assuming that your ideology, your position, is based in love, but your opponent's ideology is based in hate. For her, this concept applies to much more than just road rage or friendships. She sees this concept in large conflicts like American partisan politics, the way we may think about the other party, or in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Rabbi Abrahamson notes the dangers of this kind of thinking and says, quote, "We can't progress as a community with this asymmetry. It's impossible." In this week's Torah portion, we have another example of motive asymmetry and the danger that it poses to community. We're told that two of the Israelite tribes, Reuben and Gad, were cowherders, and they asked Moses if they could settle in the lands just outside of Israel, on the other side of the Jordan River, what is Jordan today. At first, Moses is furious with this request, assuming the worst, assuming that they were trying to shirk their duties as warriors, that they didn't want to be, they were too scared that they were not going to be a part of the conquest of the land. By hanging back across the river, they would leave that conquest to all their fellow Israelites. However, the reason that they wanted to stay was actually that the land on the other side was more fertile and was a better place for grazing. It was more appropriate. And upon being confronted by Moses, they readily agreed to help the conquest before returning to the land on the other side. If Moses had assumed the best, or at least taken time to ask Reuben and Gad, he could have avoided this conflict. Now, interestingly, this is actually not the end of the story of Reuben and Gad or of motive asymmetry within the Israelite tribes. We see in the book of Joshua that when the Israelites finally do conquer the land, Reuben and Gad settle just outside the borders, away from the rest of Israel. Little time has passed, and rumors begin to fly. Reports come back to Joshua that these tribes had built an altar to another god. Treachery. Tempers flared, and the Israelites prepared to go to war with their fellow tribes. Now, luckily for everyone, bloodshed is averted, and by perhaps the unlikeliest of peacemakers, the zealot Pinchas, who we just read about in last week's portion. We remember he drove that spear right through the stomach of one of his own fellow countrymen. He actually is the one who goes to speak to the cowboys, to Reuben and Gad, across the river to find out their true intentions. Pinchas does what did not come naturally to Moses. And rather than make an assumption, like many of the other Israelites did, that they were building this altar to a false god, Pinchas simply asks them, "What's up with the altar?" And the tribes immediately respond that they were mortified to think that anyone would assume that they were building an altar to a false god. In fact, it was the exact opposite. They were building an altar to God, to our God, to the one God of Israel, as a testament to their loyalty, because they were worried that the other Israelites might think that they weren't truly loyal, being all the way on the other side of the Jordan. Now, Pinchas is a very complicated character in the Torah, but in this case, he models genuine curiosity about the motivation and explanation of others. This reminds us that assuming the best, or at least not jumping immediately to those negative assumptions and falling into that trap of motive asymmetry, we allow ourselves time and perspective to respond to real information and avoid misunderstandings and ultimately engender more solid and positive relationships. This concept of motive asymmetry also has other real-world applications. In her leadership workshops, author, Professor Brené Brown often runs an exercise where she asks people, and you can even maybe do this in your head right now, write down the name of someone who fills you with frustration, disappointment, and resentment. And then she proposes this scenario. Accept this person and assume they are doing the very best they can. She writes that one man doing this exercise with her tried this and in front of a group had an outpouring of emotion. He said, "Wow, then I'm the jerk." He told the group and he went on and said, "If this employee of mine is actually doing the best he can, I'm a total jerk and I need to stop harassing him and I need to start helping him." Dr. Brown writes that asking leaders to assume that others are doing their best can move them from pushing and grinding on the same issue to the much more difficult tasks of teaching their team, reassessing their skill gaps, reassigning them, or if they have to, letting them go. She writes, "It's a commitment to stop respecting and evaluating people based solely on what we think they should accomplish and start respecting them for who they are and holding them accountable for what they're actually doing." Assigning blame and malicious intent is a habit, and like all habits, requires conscious effort to break. And it's more difficult to assume the best in others if our relationships have been hardened by time, injury, or unmet expectations. But if we are committed to maintaining and cultivating these relationships, it's crucial that we try. By countering that negative internal dialogue, we become more compassionate. We begin to lean on more logical explanations, taking into account other people's unique circumstances. When we begin to assume the good intention by default, we feel more empowered and self-confident. We have control over how we choose to respond to any given situation. We can embrace the possibility that no one is intentionally trying to harm us. Sure, there are inconsiderate and thoughtful people out there, but rarely do the people that we know and love deliberately cause harm. So like Pinchas, instead of letting our anxieties fester, talk to people to understand their motivation and practice assuming the best, particularly with those we know and love. Shabbat Shalom. We return to our prayer books now and rise for Aleinu on pages 282, followed by 287.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו הנוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. The words of Chana Senesh, Yesh Kochavim, there are stars. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes Yartzeit for Dorothy Abrams, Rose Albert, Gerald Applebaum, Amanda E. Arrett, Carl A. Baird, Eileen M. Baird, Edwin Bellett, Molly Goldberg Blum, Bertram H. Blum, Audrey Les Brodsky, Richard A. Brunswick, Rosa Cohen, Maurice G. Cohn, Harry D. Comer, Judith Deitch, Anna Scher Drydink, Lena Arnold Fetter, Stuart F. Feldman, Joseph Flickstein, Blaine Fogg, Robert P. Frankel, Frank Fried, Benjamin Gilbert, Irving J. Harberger, Philip Harrison, Yona Henschel, Melvin Bernard Herron, Hannah Hess, Michael Irwin Holzman, Minerva Jackson, Helen Kaplan, Julia Katz, Walter Katz, Alicia Cotterer, Frida Kerr, Mary Seidenbach-Koch, Clara Kostianowski, Ivan Kranich, Molly Kraus, Lily Kurtz, Lillian B. Kurtz, Belle Lederer, Frida Fried Lee, Martin Lewin, Sarah F. Mann, Alan Markowitz, Isaac May, Harriet Mazer, Mary Mogul, Josephine Sattler Morris, Charlene Newberg, Gladys Perlstein, Fidel Peters, Milton Pincus, Bertha Rose, Louis C. Rosenstein, Victor Rosewater, Saul Rubin, Samuel Saller, Charles D. Salkowitz, Meyer Schwartz, Libby Roston Scott, Molly R. Silverstein, Nathan Spear, David J. Sondheim, Harry A. Tackett, Benjamin F. Teller, Sarah N. Topkins, Catherine Louise Wilson, Norma Winthrop, Madeline H. Wise, Levi Loeb Wolf. And we add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days. Rachel Blake, Samuel Frieder, Ann Sue Israel, Pam Muchnick, Bruce Prezant. If you are observing Yartzeit or Shiloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to write their names in the chat or speak their names aloud at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal, v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
It's my pleasure to welcome up our president, John Broder, for some very important announcements. Riveting.
Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see everybody. So we don't have a lot of announcements again. It's pretty quiet in this summer. So in keeping with my last few weeks of gratitude, I wanted to thank our professional staff here at Road of Shalom, many who are earned a well-earned Shabbat night off. But they're some of the folks you see who are around all the time. A lot of the people are behind the scenes. Those of you who are members just got your annual bills. You can't imagine what was involved in producing hundreds and hundreds of those. You just got your bulletin in the mail, all of you for the first time in a while, who printed all those things out. So when you see folks, please thank them. They work so hard, and they just are wonderful people. We really value them more than you can say. And I want to sort of end with a little challenge and request. We're going to have opportunities to do some more mass mailings in advance of the high holidays and other opportunities. If you're available, interested about helping at some point, you can actually let me know, and I'm happy to put people together so we can help with the cause and community. If you're new to the congregation and want to learn more, Heshi Zimin, who's in the back and waving, will be happy to tell you anything you want to know. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend and Shabbat Shalom.
We read in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Ancestors, a first-century rabbinic book, that Yehoshua ben Parachia used to say, appoint for yourself a teacher and acquire for yourself a companion, and judge all people with the scale weighed in their favor.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon.
May God bless us and keep us.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon.
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious to us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha, v'yasem lecha, v'yasem lecha shalom. Ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon, ken yehi ratzon.
May we we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
That was one of the more impressive displays of musicianship.